In a world full of scripts, he built his edge on real connection.
Welcome to Rise to Lead, where unique perspectives redefine leadership.
Welcome to Rise to Lead. Today we're joined by Richard Blank in Costa Rica, an entrepreneur and dreamer who loves and lives to inspire others. And that's why we're here together. So Richard is the Chief Executive Officer for Costa Rica's call center. He says of himself that he was born an entrepreneur and dreamer. To him,
Mm.
inspiring is a spiritual journey. Richard, welcome to the show.
Regina, so happy to be with you and your audience today. I have so many things to share.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear them. And really, really delighted to have you on. So thanks for
Cool.
coming on.
My pleasure.
Richard, you're all about inspiring. And I'm curious to hear more about that. But first, share with us what inspired you to open a call center in Costa Rica. So, what's your backstory?
My backstory is getting past parents' guilt and expectations and living a free life that was a little responsible. I knew my own tastes. So when I was growing up in Northeast Philadelphia and graduated the proud Abington High School, my friends were going into medicine, engineering, law. I love languages, just like yourself, Miss Regina. You speak
Yes.
multiple languages. And so I loved Spanish. It was my favorite class, and I doubled down. I became a Spanish major at the University of Arizona. And so, like yourself, Regina, sometimes you build on momentum. You have a groove in your step, you're feeling all right. You're having a good day. And so every day to me felt like a Saturday. I was getting reinforcement from the Spanish. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew it had a plan. And when I was 27, a very good friend of mine asked me to come to Costa Rica for just a couple months, teach English at a call center. I've never been to a call center. You and I hang up on call centers, when they call us. And I got to see the inside, not from the sea level, from the inside out. And 2 months turned into 4 years, my friend. I decided to stay and I learned the business, but I learned it the smart way. It's almost like that movie Brubaker with Robert Redford, He was the warden of a jail, but he was with the prisoners in the beginning. And so I almost undercover bossed it. I learned what it was like to be part of the crew so you could extend empathy. You can put yourself in their shoes. And then at 35, I threw my hat in the ring, started my company with one seat. Here we are today with 150. And it's been a great run, and I count my lucky stars. It should have never happened. And so, why am I smiling? Because I'm living a dream. I mean, I followed through on childhood interests, made it into a career, and somehow was able to put it all together. And so, yes, that's why I'm here today, rising to lead and sharing it with you and your amazing audience.
Wow, it sure sounds like a dream life to me. And yeah, I do love your story because you know, as we always like to say, reinvented myself many times in different places. But it's
Yeah,
really about getting closer to who you are, right? And
mm,
to get to that essence of who we are. And I love your story because at some point in my life, I just left my well-paying leader job in San Francisco, left that behind. I packed up and flew down to Buenos Aires and simply built and opened a bed and breakfast. Not quite the same, but still, I just followed my heart like you did. So we do have a few parallels there, although I did not learn Spanish in school. I learned that later in life, just before
yeah.
moving to Spain. But yeah, lots of things in common for sure.
It's like an 80s B movie. You take someone from another world, throwing them somewhere else. There's some hijinks and fun, And how about this? And you know this, Regina, being an expat and a world traveler, that if you go somewhere with good intentions and you smile, you don't need to speak their language. People will embrace you. You pay attention. Sometimes it's like living in the now. Today we're so distracted, but when you're abroad, you're on your toes. So every minute is a solid 5 minutes of just life. And you're drinking it. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted because it's like a final exam. You took in so much and you grew. so much. It's shedding skin is kind of the way I'm seeing it. It's you're getting out of that crazy bubble that we're all so used to. And you know what it is, Regina? It's making yourself vulnerable. I put myself out there. Not
Absolutely.
everybody likes call centers or Spanish or things like that, but you know what? I'll wear those scars. I'm proud of it. That's who I am today.
Yeah, and talking about call centers, I visited one in Durban once, actually, in South
Did
Africa,
you?
which was quite interesting. And
Yeah,
it
tell me about
was,
it.
yeah, it was created to help young people because South Africa has extremely high unemployment and especially youth unemployment. And so it was created to provide work for young people. That was the main objective of it in the beginning, right? Of course, yes, also to do business, but that was actually the reason it originally was conceived as an idea, right?
Of
So
course.
you say inspiring is a spiritual experience. What shifted in you personally that made business more than just business?
I don't want to sound goofy by saying it,
Mhm.
but sometimes you get the tingles, cosquillas, you get the butterflies.
See,
A
yes.
lot of people live their life through their sixth sense and their intuition. It's their guidance, it's their compass, it's where they go. Um, when I had certain feelings, the gods were telling me that this is correct. And it's almost like that riddle that you need to solve in the beginning of your journey, of your hero's journey. And so there was a lot of pressure to not follow that because most people didn't understand it or didn't do it. So I needed to find individuals that could share with me their experiences, which were few to none. And so a lot of it was just dreaming. But I realized this. When you're a child and you break a window, you get in trouble. You know what I mean? And it's not funny or cute. There's a certain stage where you need to be mature and have impulse control and make better decisions where you take into consideration others, not just being selfish. And so, in a sense, I had to leave that security and the comfort that I had and make myself starting out and not as a zero, but building your your growth. And I loved it. You know why, Regina? Because it felt raw. It was real. And how about this? I was at the best age. I was at 27, with all due respect to Jimmy and Janice. Um, that is a special age for people. I always believe that besides having a coming of age when you're 12, you can have one at 27. And I realized that I was on something and I didn't know where it was going to go. But I was just in this whirlwind, so I kept going. So that was my inspiration. I was kind of through a metaphysical way, through a spiritual way, because I'm not too religious and I can't quote things from Zen or Buddha or Taoism, but I've listened to Alan Watts and individuals have inspired me to think. And so what I just wanted to do was just calm. And through decompressed stimulation, after about an hour of that calmness, then I could get clarity. And that's how I would make those inspirational decisions. And I hope that made some sort of sense to your audience.
Absolutely. I think it does. It certainly does to me. And
That's good. You're the
it's
most important anyway, Regina. You know,
I'm the center of the universe
yeah,
here.
as long as Regina likes it,
We all
I'm
are
cool with
the
that.
centers of our own universes. So
Yeah.
yes. So what you said is so hard for people though sometimes to do, right? And that really being present and coming to that place where we can hear our uh, to call it something, our inner voice that wants to guide us, right?
Yes,
That intuitive voice that actually always is true or has the truth.
that's right.
So it's not the easiest thing to listen to or to find it. And I want to pick up something else that you said. So you were talking about taking into account people, right? Or taking into consideration people. I can't remember the exact words that you used right now, but I want to pick that up because building a call center, that's really a bet on people, right? So what did you see? specifically also in that environment in Costa Rica that inspired you to do this? And that, I mean, you mentioned the previous experience through the friend that called you, but what did you see maybe in Costa Rica that others were missing?
As I mentioned before, those 80s B movies that I love so much, you know, I saw myself at a place where I had a linguistical advantage. I'm a native English speaker. I'm an Anglo-Saxon. Great. What sort of advantage is that? Ricardo Montalban spoke English as well as I did, but he had an accent which made him 10 times cooler. And so, Miss Regina, accents are verbal beauty marks. Your grammar and vocabulary is perfect, but why not have a slight accent, right? A special sauce. And so instead of being like every single call center out there that just grinded, brought you in attrition rates and made you hate it, I wanted to see if I could increase your soft skills, your bedside manner, maybe using certain selective vocabulary to make your delivery more strategic, more diplomatic. And so you're a painting. You're a beautiful painting, not just a print. Anyone can be a print. And that's what most people are in call centers. I'd rather have you make 44 calls a day instead of 100, as long as you're doing the Regina and dancing that beautiful verbal dance. And so I get excited over that. And so when they saw my passion, because it's my wheelhouse, yes, I'm a CEO, but I did it through the ranks. So if anybody wants to challenge me, man, 6 ways to Sunday, I'm going to teach you a lesson there, Skippy. So I was able on the first day to bring them into a training room. And prior to any phone call, the first 2 hours was with me. Besides playing pinball in the games room that I had for recess, I extended my time. And the first question I asked was, did any CEO of a call center ever train you? And most of them didn't raise their hand, so I earned respect. And secondly, I spoke some Spanish to them. Second, respect. Show their, and I know the subjunctive tense. I can conjugate verbs. I know the bad words too. But the third was I made it fun. Regina, I would make you stand up, hold the script in the left hand, use your right hand for illustrators. Besides public speaking, you're pitching the script with me. We're going to practice your how fast you speak, how loud you speak, selective pausing. I'm going to teach you open-ended versus closed-ended questions. I'm going to teach you to use the military alphabet and a positive escalation of when a secretary transfers you, you compliment them verbally. I'm going to teach you how to do tie downs and transitionals. And what I'm teaching you to do is simple. I'm not teaching you to lie. And Regina, I'm not teaching you to steal, but forgive me if I'm teaching you conversation manipulation to extend conversation so at least you're able to make your point. So I just want you, my friend, just to buy 30 seconds. That's all, checkpoints. Give me 20, 30-second checkpoints on a 10-minute call. And if you do that, it flows. You'll get your conversion. You'll at least get what you need from the call. But you need breaths, you need turn taking, you need checkpoints. And I teach these things. I love these things. And when I see a 22-year-old kid have a breakthrough on the floor closing a deal, I realize, my friend, that I passed that flame. That kid's going to have that for the rest of his life. And I did my job. And so, Regina, our generation, proud Generation X, we pay it forward. That's what we're here to do today. Not to scare you, get you to cry, or make you feel like big boss. I don't need any of that nonsense. I'm a guest in your country. I just want to pay it forward. And so when people come back after a payday or from a Friday to a Monday and they still come back to work, yo, Regina, they came back. They didn't quit. You and I must do something right. And so I think the market speaks. I think the more that people stay with me and the fact that I've had this longevity, I don't know what to say except, oh, thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and it's a type of conversational intelligence that you teach, right? There's actually a methodology that is called conversational intelligence, but it's, that word or that term came to mind when you were describing it, and it sure sounded like fun, which is so, so important. My motto is always no fun, no gain. So I threw the
Exactly.
no pain, no gain out a long time ago because I don't really believe in it. I just replaced it with fun. So I totally agree here.
Yeah, you don't need to be
Yeah,
mean.
exactly. No, this sounds very exciting. Now,
Yeah.
a call center is often thought of as a high pressure environment, right? Or a high rejection environment.
Yes.
Telemarketing, right? So, what would you say separates leaders who drain energy from those who multiply it? And we already mentioned the fun factor. Is there anything else?
Hmm. Yes. What an excellent question, Regina. How about this, my friend? Right bus, right seat. When I first started playing hockey, my favorite sport, I was left wing. I ended up as a goalie. And so I've been a goalie since I was like 7 years old. And so know my space and I know where I belong. I don't need to be the king of the show. I could be 2 minutes in the movie and people still love me. It's all that matters is that you shine when it's your time and it's your moment. And in your time that you're the best you are. I'm trying to sound cliche-ish a little bit and motivational poster, but I needed to take away fear from some of these people. All right. Besides putting you on the right project, I also had to let you know a couple things. I go, are you stealing? No. So don't be afraid of a cop. Are you cheating on a test? No. Don't be afraid of the teacher. Are you showing up on time and making your phone calls? Yeah. So why are you afraid of me, Regina? There's an expression in Spanish, borrar y cuenta nueva. It means clean slate. So listen, man, don't judge me on your last boss that yelled at you. He was just a mad guy that drank too much coffee. And I'm not going to treat you like Billy that didn't come to work on time, got stoned at lunch, didn't make his phone calls. That's not right. So as long as you call the balls and the strikes and you know someone's name and you compliment them when they do well, the time that you need to make a suggestion, you do it privately, but you've earned those times of sincere, legitimate compliments to say, listen, you need to fix your tie, and you forgot to do this on the call. And so I've been able to get that as well. And I guess the third thing, and it's a very interesting way to look at it, believe in romantic deaths. You're talking about people getting hung up on, or on the reverse side, the incoming shrapnel of retention or customer service agents that need to save a client. And so you can eliminate all of the distraction and the noise. And the smartest individual can look at things through an arbitrary and neutral, even though there's emotion. That's why surgeons can't operate on their family members, unless they really have to. But if I can take any sort of heart-pounding third grade playground ego out of it and just look at it through rhetoric and take into considerations outside factors, because I don't even know you, then maybe I can break down certain tell signs that they're giving me, which shows they're rushed. I mean, obvious common sense things, but there's other things I've caught, Regina. I've caught spikes and dips. And so I teach them that let's just say it's 30 seconds. And I'm prospecting your Rise to Lead podcast, and I call you, and your secretary answers. At least I would have said, Rise to Lead podcast, how are you today? So at least I said it better than the person who answered it. It's a company name Spike. And you go, hi, this is Regina. Hey, Regina. Richard Blank. Nice to meet you. So at least I did a name drop. Regina, just wanted to know if I could speak to the owner. And then let's just say, no, I'm not interested. I'm going to, well, anyway, I really appreciate it. You sounded great. But let's just say I get to pass the pitch. Yeah, sure. I'll pass you over to Jimmy. Hey, Regina, I just got to let you know you're awesome. And then all of a sudden the call gets transferred. Hi, this is Jimmy, distracted CEO, hungry for lunch, thinking about his golf score. Hey, just got to let you know Regina's great. I snapped you right out of it. Just like I snapped you out of the company name Spike. They're in a trance. Snap them out of it. It's the first impression. Use your anonymity, not the whole call. That's shady. But if I'm going to use 3 seconds of breath, I'm going to say, what you know? Rise to Lead podcast. Or, hey, Regina's great. You're so lucky to have her. And it takes a defense from a 10 to a 6, and you take that 4 in physics and move it into forward momentum, and at least it gives you another 30 seconds. You just anchored. Regina, at least you get one more shot at it. You at least need two
Right.
pulls. And so it gives my agents, even if they get hung up on, what happens is, and this is the way I look at it, it's they're jumping clouds. Hmm. And if you can do that 150 times a day, you'll catch a few. But the rest of the time, you've done por lo menos at least a beautiful, solid introduction. The body conclusion, I don't know. Who the hell knows about that? But I'll land you the intro, at least Regina's intro, and we'll see where it goes from there. How does that sound?
Yeah, great. It reminds me of pattern interruption, right? It is a form of it, for sure.
Before we move on, a quick shameless plug. If you are leading a business or leading people inside one, but somewhere along the way stopped having a life outside of work, that's exactly what I work on with my private coaching clients. The work will keep taking every hour you give it. If you're ready to change that, book a conversation with my team at tinyurl.com/TYP.
And
Yeah.
also, I think what it does, Richard, is it helps people who do the work feel better while doing it. And that is also really,
Yes.
really important because even if somebody hangs up on you, you still control your own way of speaking, your own way of feeling while you do it, right? And as we know, our body posture and our gestures have an impact on our state of mind, how we feel, and certainly also our words and our way of speaking, I would argue,
Oh,
of how
what
we
an
feel
interesting
ourselves, I'm
observation.
saying.
You ever see the movies when people stand, or when you're in a really good conversation, Regina, you'll pace the whole house, won't you? You'll walk like 5 miles on the phone. Yeah, I agree with you. You're more animated. It adds to it. Absolutely.
Okay. So of course, we need to touch on AI a little bit because we are in the age of AI becoming more and more present in our lives
Sure.
and work.
Okay.
So, with AI reshaping communication in a certain way, right? Which human skill do you believe is becoming even more valuable these days and why?
One word, empathy. Your AI can gather better than us. I saw a video the other day of this machine running a half marathon. They crushed us. So yeah,
Mm.
machines are taking over. They'll do non-voice support. They'll be phenomenal in chat, email, and texting. They'll even get better on robocalls where it's not uncanny valley, where they sound almost like humans but still freak us out. The IVRs, the integrated voice response, where you got to say something, press, it's frustrating still. They still don't get your address or your bank number or something. They'll get it 5 to 10 years. But what they're never, ever going to replace is pressing zero, getting Regina on the line, me being a client for 15 years at the Rise to Lead company, and me telling you how much I love the company, or me telling you a problem with my family, and that's why your business is so important for me, or I need help because something got turned off, and you're frustrated. So some of the accounts I've had have had to deal with that settlement and law firms, and things were, and even the medical field with doctors and nurses and stuff. And so sometimes you speak to people that they're having their worst day of their life. And so you think it's a 5 minute call. We've had calls that have lasted over an hour because people are trying to fill out a form for an attorney for a class action lawsuit, and we got to walk them through pages because they couldn't handle it. And so hats off to anybody that is able to extend such beautiful electromagnetic energy to somebody else. I mean, it's draining. It's either energy givers or suckers, but there's nothing wrong with extending empathy. And so um, these computers can look like us, talk like us, or whatever. But if I really need to speak to my friend Regina and share something that is so important to me, This person will take the time, we'll look at each other, we'll get through it together. And I think that's priceless. And so you'll see the guy at the town square that plays the violin or draws your silhouette. They're going to be considered rock stars in the next 10 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. I talk a lot about compassion, which is sort of similar to what you described in my work. And it has also to do with heart-centered leadership or heart-led leadership, right?
That's right.
You mentioned the electromagnetic energy, and that's how we connect with the rest of the world and people through our hearts.
Yes,
So I really love that. Let's talk
me
about
too.
conflict. Or did you want to add
Okay.
anything?
No, I just wanted to say,
Okay.
yeah, you
Okay.
brought up a good point.
Sounds good.
I'm allowed to say that. Come on, Regina, you bring up great points.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about conflict. Uh, what is a conflict that you're actually glad it happened in your life because it might have made you a better leader?
The first time somebody left the company,
Hmm.
I thought everyone was going to be, when you hired them, they were there for the next 40 years. I didn't realize that my industry had the largest attrition rate of 300%. And so when the first guy left, he looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I said, "Why are you leaving, Shaggy?" No, I'm only kidding. But I couldn't believe it. I took it personal. I felt I did something wrong. I went above and beyond. And when he left, one of the guys that was in Costa Rica longer than me, that I was renting the call center space from when I first started my business, pulled me aside and goes, "Richie, you got to realize something. The kid's 22 years old. His girlfriend works at Amazon. That's why he's leaving. It's got nothing to do with you. He loved you. He even told me, and he felt bad. You're lucky he even came to you. Most of the guys just leave." And I said, "You're right." He goes, they have family issues, they have money issues, they have health issues, they have mental issues, they have a million issues they're not letting you know. So I realized that I needed to change my mindset. And so if I did everything I could, if I was not disrespectful and I played by the rules and you just left without even saying goodbye, that's on you. But I also learned a huge lesson, Regina, that if you sense it, or anything you need to hedge your bet. When you're hiring for 5 people, why don't you bring in 9? Because 2 won't show up on Monday anyway for the training class, and 2 people are just going to quit anyway because they're not going to want to do it. And then you're stuck with your 5. I know my stuff. And if someone starts coming in late or missing work, then they're obviously going on job interviews. And so then you find that replacement, or you constantly have people coming in that you can interview to maybe boost up the team. So but I had to realize that if I spent time with somebody, half an hour to even a month, say you spend 5 hours with someone and then you never see him again, that's just the price that you pay, Regina. I'd rather me do it than just pass it off to some mid-level trainer that doesn't do it as well and doesn't represent our company in the best light. And so, and then guess what happened? And this is the beauty of it all. I've been here 25 years. I've trained over
Right.
10,000 people. I bump into people at the mall. And so
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like you run over, Richard, Regina, haven't seen you in 8 years. How are you? I'm not angry at you. I know you left. And so you're like, listen, I just got to let you know. I'm sorry for leaving the way I did. But I also got to let you know what you taught me was great. I'm over at XYZ company. I'm doing well. And you were one of the best boss I ever had. You always treated me straight. And I realized that you were 22 at the time, you're 30 now. And so you grew up. And so of course you made different decisions. So I'm cool with that as long as people are cool with me. And so I've made peace with it, a lot of the things that have happened. And so I think that's the best leader. You need to be stoic. You got to be that lighthouse amongst the raging seas. And so I learned to take deeper breaths, speak second, right? Let you talk. And then make you and then if you really want to know the truth, then I throw in a heavy dose of Philly guilt, Regina, to make you feel super, super bad. Come on, Regina, you know you're better than this. Come on. Of course, I'm going to use that. And so that I think has been my combination of how I've somehow become a leader for all these years.
Okay, yes. And sometimes people leave because they are ready to grow in a different way. I mean,
Correct.
I would never hold anybody back when they are ready to leave because it doesn't make sense. It it's people's lives. I have changed direction so many times in my life and locations. How would I be able to do that to other people or try to persuade them? It doesn't make sense, right?
My only thing,
Sometimes,
Regina, is
go
just
ahead.
responsibility. At least give a
Mhm.
2 weeks notice or let me know so I can
Yeah,
replace you. But
absolutely.
not showing up means that me, you, and our
Mm.
client, so that's my only gripe to that.
Yeah, but that's also a matter of respect, right? So that's it. It is definitely important. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So, do I remember well that I saw gamification somewhere in in your materials?
absolutely you did. I'm glad you brought it up. What do you
Okay,
want to
let's
know?
talk about that. And pinball machines. So, what does that unlock in adults that other types of leadership or management would not be able to unlock, maybe? And how do
Before
you
I
use
answer your
it?
question, I got to ask you a question, Regina. Do you have a favorite arcade game that you played when we were growing up?
I'm more into dance, I have to say.
I knew it. You didn't play Pac-Man, did you? You
No,
you weren't into that. No. See, that's the thing. Girls
not a
don't play
game.
Pac-Man or pinball. I know. So,
I played
okay.
billiards sometimes when in many years ago, and I still sometimes do when I travel, and all of a sudden I encounter a billiard pool, but otherwise, no, not so much. But go ahead.
You run the table like Fast Eddie. That's great. Um, well, you do remember in the 70s and 80s when it first started getting very popular, how amazing these game rooms were, not just the penny arcades. They really started expanding. And so Um, it was expensive when I was a child. It's the kind of thing that was like a novelty. You were lucky if you got to play them. And I thought they were beautiful, especially the pinball machines from the 1970s. These were hand-painted marquees, play fields, electromechanical, open play fields, beautiful art, just fun and easy. I loved it. And so I'm here in Costa Rica and I have this huge call center. And I check on Craigslist and Facebook. All of a sudden, this arcade's going out of business. Guy's selling like 9 machines. I don't tell my wife. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So, Regina, come on, let's call Billy, Joey, and Tommy. Let's get the truck. Let's go. I got some cash. We go there, we look at them, playing it cool. Next thing you know, we're bringing back machines. I currently have 11 pinball machines, air hockey table, alpine racer ski machine, which is funny, bunch of fighting machines. And so, why do I do this? Because I need a happy medium. I needed to have some sort of safe space for people, and it's not in front of a TV or bringing in a game system that they have at home that they've played a million times. That makes no sense. And so I figure that it breaks down barriers. People from different departments can meet each other. People can hang out with me. I know I'm your boss, but if we're competing against each other, we're on a level playing field. But here's the secret. Two things I've seen. First is haptics. People touch me on the shoulder, which is really inappropriate to your boss. But if they're like, "Hey, boss, that was a great game," I love it. That shows affection, and it's professional. There's nothing that crosses the line. Secondly, when you see somebody laugh, Regina, first you can tease them because they have a funny laugh. They snort when they laugh or something. But the second thing is you see
I
this
do that
different
sometimes.
side of them. No, you don't really. Well, that's a nice laugh. You're not snorting. Go on.
Not all the time. I said I do that sometimes. But anyway, go
Hold on,
ahead.
I'm waiting.
I have to just laugh.
Oh, Regina put you on the spot. You see what it did. And so, besides you and I are already having fun and we're friends and everything, just it really makes people relax when you see a different face, a different sound, a different energy. And that's when chums happen. That's when friendship happens. And so I've seen people fall in love by the Pac-Man machine and then get married. And they're like, wait, man, my Pac-Man. I'm like, no way. Um, but also, I am giving them an experience of pinball that they will never see. You can't find machines down here. Can't find them. And so just that alone, they can say that, hey, if they ever see it in an old 70s movie or something, they're like, I played one of those and my boss had one of those. And when my clients come down, they're like, wow, we should put this in my office. I'm like, yeah, you should. I mean, it's showing them how I treat myself, my people. And you need to have a Willy Wonka chocolate river at every company. You got to have something that's a zig and a zag. It just can't be 90 degrees straight lines. That's not fun. You need a place to play. And that was my biggest thing was finding those machines and getting them. And it was so much fun, Regina, treasure hunting. And when you get them, you got to drive a couple hours back. It's just so victorious, like a 10-year-old. Can't wait to plug it in and play. And so it's keeping me young. I'm having fun. And I'm okay with that. That is my true taste. I'd rather have 5 pinball machines than a Rolex. How's that sound? So anyone wants to trade, I'll
Great to
take them.
me. Great to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah, apart from saying, oh, my boss had a pinball machine, what else would you like your team to say about you in, let's say, 10 years?
Very simple. He was really handsome. I'm only kidding. Um, that I knew their name. They could say I cared or not cared. I know I did. That I knew their name and the fact that I definitely spent time with each and every one of them. Is it something that's good or bad? Probably not. It probably doesn't mean anything. I think their favorite boss is the one that paid them the most and gave them the most time off. But a few people will see that I'm a guest here. I'm 3,000 miles away from my mama. I learned your language in college. I invested my youth in preparing for this journey. I got here through kicks and giggles. I learned this business while working at my friend's center, which was just a random chance anyway, because he needed Richie to come down and teach something. He didn't need me to teach English. I was in between jobs. He says, why don't you just come down and hang out for a little bit with your college buddy? I got a company. Teach some English. And little did I know I had to make an argument to stay. And here's the best part, Regina. If I didn't stay, I wouldn't have met the girl of my dreams. I've been married for 25 years. And so um, that's the best gift that came out of all of this. That you see a kid, if they look at me, they're like, there's no way that my parents handed this to me. And how about this? And I think about this quite often. What if? What if, Regina, you and I stayed in Philly or Arizona or whatever and got in the family business or used all of our contacts, all of them, in our networking in the States? What would have happened? Or as you did in Argentina and I did in Costa Rica, you just leave everything. You start from scratch and you see if you could build something. Oh my God, it's so much sweeter. It's so much better. It's so organic. It was made from magic. And I think that that's when money doesn't even matter at that stage. You're looking at someone's courage and what they're willing to do. As John Wayne says, Regina, die with your boots on. Hey, kiddo, you were willing to go for it. In fact, I would have loved to have done a Airbnb or bed and breakfast compared to a call center. It sounds like so much more fun. And you did it right. You did it your way. And so you said it earlier, we got a lot of things in common. Yes, we do. We were two dreamers that realize that life is a gift and you sometimes need to walk alone. Hmm? And it's okay if someone thinks differently. It's just their own, as you said, they're not willing to have that breakthrough where they're willing. You even said, you said one of the deepest things I've heard, they're just willing to find themselves. And that's not for you and I to do. We can't get that out of them. All we can do is show them that we found the way in our own wiggle way. We wiggled. We found our way. I don't know how, but we did it. Um, there's no book for it, and you know that, Regina. We can give 1,000 bits of advice. All I'm asking you to do is to move left and move right if there's something in your way. That's all I'm asking you to do. Hmm? And pace it at your own speed. And smile while doing it. It's almost like the Tarot Fool card. You're allowed to smile while walking off a cliff. You should enjoy life like that. Every day's your last. And so I kind of looked at it like that as well. That's what my go-go juice to keep me going.
Okay, wow. Yeah, it's really a beautiful way of saying this. So, talking about
Thank you, Regina.
smiling, though, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe you always smile, Richard, but maybe not. So, when you're not at your best, what's your personal reset to get back into your smiley alignment as a leader?
It's kind of tough. I'll admit, Regina, especially since you're a lady, I do sometimes get into an FU Philly mode, and that's not good. I'm a hammer looking for nails. I'll hate everybody. And that's not a good time. That's a time for me to walk away from everybody and just hit the gym or do something. But at my age now, I get disappointed more, Regina, than angry. I
Mhm.
think someone could show manners. I think somebody should calm down or just be considerate. And it's not my place anymore. I really need to choose my battles. I don't want to mess with strangers and things, but I'll be out in public, for an example. And you want to know my 10 biggest gripes? One of them is when people have speakers on their phone at the bank or somewhere. It's not right. Or on a plane or something. Come on, man. Especially with the kid, playing his game. It's not cool, and everyone wants to not say anything. Um, Slow, bad drivers. People that take up too much in the shopping carts and stuff. They have it's no situational awareness that no one's around them. And so I don't get angry. I sometimes extend empathy because if they don't realize it, listen, I can go one row over and walk around. Or you can be passive aggressive about it. Regina, you and I can stand there with our cart of food and wait for Skippy to move and just sit there
Right.
and just shake your head and just do it our way. And so, it depends on your day on what you want to do. But I'll never, uh, you're hearing me now, I'll never cross that line anymore. It's not worth it anymore, Regina. You can have the parking spot. Hmm? You
Mm.
can have the space at the restaurant. You can have the table. It's okay. And so, and you know what's cool about that? The people that notice it will then usually give you the better table. You hear stories about that all the time,
Yeah,
when you do the
absolutely.
right thing. And
Or
so,
the seat on the airplane. Mhm.
yeah, that's how I get back into my smiles. Or if I'm in a really bad mood, give me some circus peanuts candy or something really sweet like chocolate. I'll be happy again. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. And there are people, slim people, who take up the entire sidewalk because because they I just want to say they be differently. You know what I want to say with that? They just
Of course.
they just have a different way of being, and they are maybe oblivious of the world around them. That just is so fascinating to me, though. I observe it and I find it fascinating sometimes. In the past, I would also get angry sometimes, but now I just find it fascinating.
But which
Like,
extreme is it? Is the arrogant one that puts their leg on the chair to be, or the defiant, mean one that puts the bag on just to piss people off? So it's
mhm,
never the middle. It's either I'm trying to upset you or I think I'm better than you. And
right,
either way, you're right. I'll catch both of you
exactly,
later. You win.
exactly.
Good for you. And so it's a better way to keep a happy tone, to maintain that tone.
So true. Now, wow, Richard, this has been amazingly inspiring.
Thank you,
So,
Regina.
Where can people find you online, Richard?
You can find me at CostaRicasCallCenter.com. And also I have a YouTube page where I share clips of videos. Or my largest suggestion is just to buy a plane ticket and fly down and come visit Costa Rica. I'd love to see people. And Regina, I can't thank you enough. I had the best time. I know I went off on some tangents and went here and there and everywhere, but look what you bring out in your guests. You always bring out the best.
Thank you so much for that. I do my best, and sometimes it works more than other times, but
That's right. Or at least it
but
did today.
that's the fun of it, right? And I just really also have a lot of fun with it usually. So again, thank you so much for your incredible insights, for being adventurous enough to create your business, Richard, and to everyone else listening. Until next week. Before you go, stop postponing your own life and start leading it. If today's episode resonated, don't let it just be a nice idea you had on a walk. Book a conversation with us at tinyurl.com/TYP call. 90 days is enough time to go from running on autopilot to running your own days again. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, share it, and join us next time.